when the market shifted, we'd done a handful of land deals, and the people that were buying land were expecting to do construction loans on those land.
Was it mostly like single family developers?
Yeah, mostly, yeah. And when the market shifted, construction lending just disappeared.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back. You may recognize Will because we literally just talked a month and a half or 2 months ago. So we're back for another round. Will is the owner of Urban Gate Capital here in Nashville, and we want to talk a little bit more about his hard money business today. I'm curious about that. I have some questions. And yeah, we'll just hop right into it.
Let's get it.
Last time, I did want to come back on this because if anybody watched our last interview, which if you haven't, shameless plug, go watch it. We talk about how Will bought a multi-family apartment deal in Paris, Tennessee for $750,000. Amazing. How has that been going? We just caught up about the paint a little bit, but tell me about it.
It's going much better than it was a month and a half ago.
Yes, good. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, so we've now been able to paint the building.
Okay.
We've got a few more units leased. A handful of units have now been renovated. And the metaphor I always use is like you're a ship in a storm. And when last time we did an interview, I was, in the midst of a storm and had no idea where land was.
Right.
And now I can at least see land. Like we're still in just as big of a storm, but I can see the land. So it's like
you can breathe a little bit.
Yeah, it's like at least I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like you can start to now see what the building is going to look like. And
okay.
Residents are now like they're happy to see me when I walk by, and
you're the guy that makes things better.
Exactly. Rather than the evil landlord. So
right.
There's still a ton of problems, but I think once we get past the next few months, we're gonna be in a good spot.
Good. I'm super happy to hear that because you were like, I think I made a good decision.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. The paint makes a huge difference.
Yeah, I saw that on your Instagram story. It looks way better.
Yeah, thank you.
If you guys don't follow him, go check it out. Did you have it up on a permanent post anywhere?
No, but I will soon. I'll do like a before and after.
Yeah.
Because when I was there last time, it was only half painted.
Okay.
So I'll do a before and after when it's like fully painted.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Go follow him so that you can see that. It's very satisfying.
Check it out.
Oh yeah, and we were talking about paint being, I made this note to myself, paint being the highest ROI in the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, that really is just like, people are simple. They like to see things looking pretty, and it doesn't cost that much to paint. Yeah,
and I've gotten this from my partner, but he always talks about going outside in. So like painting the exterior of the building, doing the landscaping, doing the parking lot, making the outside of the building look nice before you make the inside of the building look nice. And we definitely did the opposite on this one. And I can see why he says that because like the curb appeal, which you can appreciate as a realtor, the curb appeal is a big deal. And that really impacts their first impression when people come see it.
And is that more so from like anybody who might buy it down the road, or is it like you said, tenants walking in and being happy to be there?
It benefits both for sure.
Yeah.
But I think for us, it's more so residents because we need to get at least. That's the goal right now. Right.
What is your vacancy rate right now?
I think we're like 62% physically occupied.
Okay.
Which we're about 50% the last time we spoke.
Okay, 12% in like a month and a half is not that bad.
We've leased 2 or 3 units.
Nice. What about that unit with like the teeny tiny bathroom? You guys don't know what I'm talking about, but he sent me, I saw it on his Instagram.
Yeah.
A picture of like the tiniest bathroom in the world. It was a toilet in like a hall closet.
It has to be the world's smallest bathroom.
It's crazy.
I mean, like if you sit on the toilet, like the shower is right here. And literally
you could wash your hair and go pee at the same time.
The toilet paper roll is on the door. So when you open the door,
oh my God.
Like, it's the tiniest. It's got to be the world's smallest bathroom.
Have you figured out what to do with the space?
Yeah, we'll probably turn it either into a storage unit or a laundry room. Like it's way too small to rent. It's got to be like 85 square feet, the whole apartment. I mean, and maybe it's 100 square feet, but it's tiny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's what you get in a $750K apartment deal.
Yeah,
That's like the kind of thing to expect.
It's we bought it for what it was worth.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. So we did not come here to talk about that apartment, but thanks for catching up. I wanted to talk more about your hard money lending business. First of all, that is Urban Gate Capital, right? That's
Correct.
your hard money lending business.
Yep.
What year did you start that?
So officially, Urban Gate Capital started in 2021.
Okay.
Is when we officially formed the entity. And actually, that's when we started doing business. So yeah, like early 2021.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Okay, I'm just gonna go macro because I don't know if everyone is on the same page. I assume a lot of REN members probably know what hard money lending, but if anyone else is watching this, maybe they don't.
Yep.
What is hard money lending?
So hard money lending is, in the most basic form, it's typically like lending to people who are flipping houses
Okay.
at slightly higher interest rates.
Okay.
So that's why they call it hard money, because it's more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
For a long time, I used to try and say private money, but then no one knew what I was talking about. So
Sounds too bougie or something.
well, they're like, so you mean hard money? And I go, yes.
Yeah. I mean hard money.
Yeah. So hard money is like if you were wanting to flip a house,
Mm-hmm.
you have a handful of ways you could finance the property. You could buy it with cash, you could go to a bank, or you could get a loan from a hard money lender. And a bank is great, but they typically take 30 to 45 days. They'll lend at 75% of the purchase price, and it might be like 6-7% interest rate. You could buy it in cash if you have the cash. Great. Hard money is you could go to like a company that provides loans specifically for people who are flipping houses.
Was that the only time you would ever use hard money is for a flip?
That's like 90% of the time.
Okay.
You can use it for a couple of things. You can use it for flipping houses. You can use it for like buying land. So like if you wanted to buy land that you were then going to build a house on,
Okay.
you could use hard money to purchase the land and then go get a construction loan to build the house on top of the land. So,
And then would you reappraise it once you have the structure and then pay your hard money loan off?
yes.
Okay.
So like the loan for the construction typically pays off the hard money lender.
Okay, got it.
And those are the majority of what we get used for is for flips, for people buying land. And then every now and again, like a unique deal will pop up where people need commercial financing or apartment complex financing. And the term for that in the industry is more of like a bridge loan. But
Yeah, I've heard that before, but I didn't
Yeah.
really know what that was.
it's kind of the same thing, but
Just a bigger scale?
yeah, like in the commercial world, they call it a bridge loan, and single family, they call it hard money. And I mean, it's significantly more expensive for the hard money than bridge because it's a larger loan amount. But that's so we've done a handful of deals where like they're buying an industrial building, and they needed capital for 3 to 6 months, and so rather than trying to find a bank or something, they sourced the capital from us, and then they found a bank to refinance them out.
Okay.
But majority, it's single family flips, land purchases, and some industrial and commercial and multifamily too.
So you're helping people get in and then get out, pretty
Yes, we're very short-term capital.
much. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So my second question was, when would somebody work with a hard money lender instead of a traditional lender? But that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. I mean, would you, like, if somebody wanted to flip, would it ever make sense for them to just get a conventional loan from like ABC mortgage lender? Or does a hard money loan always make more sense?
That is a good question. I don't know exactly what the terms look like for a bank loan. So I don't know if I could answer that properly, but I definitely think, I mean, bank loans are cheaper money. So their rates right now are probably 7-8%, but they might be slightly lower leverage than hard money.
Right.
So I think so, yeah. If you're closing a deal and you're not in a rush to close it, meaning you have 30, 60 days to close it, and you have cash that you're willing to put down, I think in that scenario it might be better to use a bank loan to purchase the property, renovate the property, and flip it. But if you're in a situation where you need to close quickly and you want someone to finance the majority of the project, a hard money loan might make more sense.
What percentage are you guys typically financing?
So we're a little unique. We'll do 100% of the purchase price.
Oh, really?
Yep. So 100% of purchase price, and then we ask our borrowers to fund the renovation funds. So like at closing, the borrowers are barely out of pocket, like a few $100s for closing costs.
Right.
And then whatever the renovation funds, they will typically fund that.
Wow.
Sometimes we'll fund the renovation funds, but we try and just do purchase price.
Is there a reason behind that? There's a story there.
The honest answer is we just don't, if we're not funding renovation funds, we just, when we close, we send you the money, we're done.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're doing renovation, then every few weeks there's like draws and inspections.
Yeah.
And they'll complete the work and then we'll go inspect it and send out the capital. So,
so it's like a time thing.
Yeah, it's just like it's
yeah.
it's just very simple on our end.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's just a preference for you and Brandon.
Yeah. And eventually we'll have more systems in place and have more of a team where we can do renovation. But right now we just kind of stick to that. It's worked so far.
Okay, that makes sense. And then who's underwriting the deals? Is it you? Is it Brandon? Is it both? Or do you send it out?
So originally it was me, and we've hired a guy. His name's Jonathan. Shout out to Jonathan.
Hey.
I hope we can make that a clip.
Let's do it.
Jonathan's a stud. So we hired him. He's currently our loan officer. So he does all the borrower communication.
Awesome.
And he does all the underwriting. So he'll go talk to the borrowers. He'll collect the information. He underwrites it. And then he puts the presentation together and sends it to Brandon.
Okay.
And Brandon approves it.
Okay. So Brandon's the board.
Yeah, we call Brandon our chief credit officer.
Nice.
From my banking days.
CCO. Is that a real title?
Yeah.
I don't know that much about banking.
Yeah, no, it's not a super well-known title, but yeah, when I worked at a bank, the guy who was the ultimate like thumbs up or down, they called him the chief credit officer.
Makes sense.
So that's what we call Brandon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chief credit officer at your service.
And he doesn't even, if you asked him what his title is, he'd be like, oh, I can't remember what they call it.
Something.
Yeah. So Jonathan does all the underwriting, and then mostly my time is spent raising money.
How does that look? Are you like taking people to lunch and telling them about deals, or how does that look? Yeah,
I joke often that a lot of my day is just calling people asking for money.
Fair enough. It's like working at a nonprofit.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of it is just calling people and like, calling people, keeping up with people, asking how things are going, and just being like, if we presented this to you, would this be of interest to you? Like, is this something you like? I naturally like talking about investments, so I just naturally in conversations of like, so what do you invest in? And they'll tell me, and then you're like, oh, well, like, is this of interest to you? And seeing if it would, solve a problem or be a financial benefit to them, and just talking to a lot of people.
So you're not trying to sell, you're just listening.
I'm trying to sell, but that's how you sell well, is like you figure out what the problem is and then see if my product offers a solution. But I'm definitely trying to sell, yeah.
Gotcha, yeah, but you're doing it in a nice way.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sweet. What have you made a deal? Have you landed on a deal that did not pan out since you started in 2021?
So, knock on wood, we've had 0 foreclosures to date.
Yay.
So we've not lent on any properties that we've had to foreclose on.
Okay.
But we've had some properties that like didn't go exactly to plan.
And is that like more for the investor than you?
Yeah, like a good example would be when the market shifted, we'd done a handful of land deals, and the people that were buying land were expecting to do construction loans on those land.
Was it mostly like single family developers?
Yeah, mostly, yeah. And when the market shifted, construction lending just disappeared.
Yeah.
So a lot of those people were like, hey, we're not going to be able to get a construction loan as quickly as we thought, so we're going to try and sell these lots, or we're going to need a little bit more time to refinance. And luckily, because we raise our own capital, it's all our own money, like we have the ability to do loan modifications.
Oh, cool.
So a lot of those, what we did is we just extended the maturity and did a loan modification, and those have all panned out, so far.
Did they start developing later on? So when you say when the market shifted, you're talking about like June 21? Okay, yeah. Yep. Or June 22?
Yes.
Yeah. getting my years mixed up. Earlier today, so the battery issue, when I took it to the shop, they were like, okay, it's from December of 20. And they were like, you need one every 3 years. And I was like, so I'm good. And then I was like, wait, it's not December yet, but it's 2023. I forgot what year it was this morning.
Every 3 years for a battery?
That's what they said. It seems excessive, but I know in high school I would let my battery go for like 6 years.
I could not tell you the last time I replaced a battery.
You might get a surprise.
Yeah.
These frosty March mornings got my battery.
The cold got you, but
anyway, 2022, it's shifted in June.
Yes.
And then, so are you starting to see them develop again, or did they like subdivide and sell the lots off and call it a day?
Most of those, they sold the lots. They either sold the lots or they refinanced with longer term debt. Mm-hmm. I'd say 75% sold, 25% refinanced.
When you say longer term debt, like how much longer?
So that's when they went to a bank loan. So our loan terms are like 6 months.
Okay.
That's like the longest we do. And they'll refinance into a bank loan, which is typically 5 to 10 years.
Gotcha.
So, and it's cheaper money. Like our loans are expensive. They'll burn a hole in your pocket pretty quickly.
What are the interest rates typically?
Yeah. So
or are they changing all the time?
We're pretty consistent.
Really?
We're 12% and 2 to 3 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And you haven't really shifted a lot since last year?
We've not shifted at all. Like when interest rates are like 3, 4, 5%, we were 12%. And now interest rates are 7, 8, 9, and we're still 12. So
now you're not looking too bad.
Yeah, it's like
right.
We almost sound affordable now. Which
almost. Imagine that.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Has your business ticked up recently?
In terms of like loan requests?
Mm-hmm.
So February was really busy.
Okay.
Right now, I'd say we're kind of slow.
Really?
It seemed like January was really slow, which you kind of expect after the holidays and things like that. So January was pretty slow, and then February was just like on fire, and the last week has been slow. It just, as you know, in the realtor business, like it just kind of ebbs and flows.
Yep. There's a lot of speculation, which changes people's emotions.
Yes.
It's a people business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in the realtor market? Like, is there more people listing houses? Are there more people buying? Like, what are you seeing there?
It's the same. It's changing all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like you'll have a week where it's on fire and you'll have multiple offers, and then it'll like slow down, and then it'll do it again. Mm-hmm. It's sort of just, I don't know. I think buyers are trying to take advantage of rates before they keep going up. But then there's a lot of people that think they'll go down again, so they're waiting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
It's kind of all across the board.
Yeah. I think about that all the time of like how many buyers are out there.
Yeah.
Every time I talk to somebody, it seems like there's a decent amount of buyers.
Yeah, there are buyers. I mean, people are active. I think we talked about this a little bit last time, but I saw a quote. It was like, the best time to buy is always 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And there is definitely some nuance in there, but I really feel like if the deal makes sense for you, you should not go over your budget. But if the deal makes sense for you today, you're comfortable with the payment and you don't get like a, adjustable rate mortgage, which I also wouldn't recommend unless you have a exit strategy within those 5 years.
Yep.
But yeah, if the deal makes sense, it's a growing area. Like Antioch is one of the best areas right now that we're seeing. They just had a little shout out on Tennessean. I can't remember. One of the local magazines just covered Antioch because they are appreciating really quickly. We've got like Tanger outlets coming there. That's a rabbit trail, but look at the deal, look at the neighborhood. If you're comfortable, there's no reason you shouldn't jump in now.
Yep.
Because housing is not going to get cheaper.
Yeah.
Especially here in Nashville. I mean, I would love to hear where everybody's watching from. I'm guessing most people are from Nashville, but do comment your city. But Nashville's not really slowing down. We have a lot of companies coming here. We have a lot of growth.
Yep.
So I would say get in if you can. If you're not in a good position, it's fine to wait, but make sure that you're talking to a lender today. Yep. I'm sure you can attest to this, like coming from a lending background. Just talk to a lender and see where you are. If you think you're not ready today, you may not be. That's fine, but like check in.
Yep.
And then you know how to save and plan.
For sure. It's worth the conversation with the lender because once you talk to them and give them the financials, you'll really know where you stand, like where you 100%. Are at. And then you know your price range, you know your budget, you know where rates are at. I mean, I certainly made the mistake of like trying to get something under contract and then going to the lender and being like,
no,
I did that in the wrong order.
Was that your first house?
No, that was just me being impatient, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is one of the craziest things I see. People are like looking at any house and any budget, and then they're like, all right, let's put an offer in. And I'm like, have you been pre-approved? And if the answer is no, I'm like, we're not going to put an offer in.
Do you only work with people who are pre-approved? Like, is that
yes. That is a requirement. And I don't say that in any kind of like, I only work with people that are pre-approved. I just mean like, if we're going to work together, that's the first step that I will tell you. Yeah. Like, I'll hold your hand and we'll go together and we'll look at it. But there are two reasons, like, there are a lot of reasons, but one, like, my time is precious, you know, that this is my business. But the others is yours is too. And you also don't want the emotional roller coaster of falling in love with a house that is way over your budget. And some people might actually be surprised, like your budget might be higher than you think it is. But on that note, again, you can probably attest to this. You don't want to just buy at the top of your budget. So if you're approved for $500,000, that doesn't mean you need to buy a house at $499.
Because your dream house is going to be $525.
Yeah, legit. Also, dream house. That's one that I am like very passionate about. Don't go after your dream house the first time, unless you've waited a really, really long time and you're kind of like the second half of your career. I'm an investor by nature, but I think if you can get pre-approved for a certain amount, cut that in half, buy a duplex or buy something that's going to generate income, then you can use that to fund your dream home later on. But if you just go for the dream home, you're stuck in this payment. Maybe you can rent it out later, but oftentimes those payments are going to be too high to make sense for a rental. So that's my 2 cents.
I definitely agree. It depends on your like life's position, like where you are in life.
I guess I'm talking mostly about like younger people.
Okay.
I feel like people our age, like, I don't know, mid-20s, mid-30s, if you haven't bought yet and you don't have a huge lump sum to save, the dream house might look great, but it's actually more of a liability than an asset. Yeah,
I mean, for me at least, I would think dream home is like, I don't know, 40s, early 40s.
Yeah,
that's
probably.
the timing for that.
Maybe, I mean, it's so hard to say. Who knows? Yeah. It's 40s / whenever you financially can and it makes sense.
That's
and
true.
You already have some investments in place. I don't know if there's a magic age.
If I make $10 million tomorrow, that might change.
For sure that would change something. I'm just saying, if you're on a budget and you can only afford one home right now, maybe don't go for the most beautiful one that's going to like really push your monthly note.
So I'll throw a question at you.
Okay.
Of what investments are you looking into now? You said you're an investor by nature.
Yes.
So do you have rentals? Are you trying to get into rentals? What does that look like?
Good question. Thank you. So I have an Airbnb in my home.
Oh.
So I have an owner-occupied short-term rental.
How does that work?
So good question too. So if anybody knows what that is, owner-occupied Airbnb, it's just the different designation for the permit. So you guys have probably all heard about the crazy Airbnb spikes and what am I trying to say? The Airbnb people are cracking down on Airbnbs in different cities. So there's an owner-occupied version, which means you have to live in the property, and that's where you share a room, where you share one door. And then there's non-owner occupied, which is what a lot of investors that you or I might work with that are like, I want to buy a condo and I don't want to live there. I'm going to be in another state and I'm going to do Airbnb out of that. Mm-hmm. Mine is a 3-level HPR. So it's like a townhouse with 2 levels on the top, 1 on the bottom that's half garage, and then just 1 bedroom and a bathroom. And the guests actually come in through the front door. They have an automatic pin pad. And then I had a door built in the hallway with a one-way deadbolt lock. So I come in through the garage, they come in through the front door, and they just have this little area. And it pays like 80% of our mortgage.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
I love it. It's called house hacking. If you guys don't know, if you spend any time on my page or just with me in real life, you're going to hear me talking about house hacking.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. And oops, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe if you do want to, get a dream house, get something where you can cash flow it.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know much about the short-term rental space. Are owner-occupied Airbnb Is that like, can you do that on any house? Is there specific zonings you need? Okay.
You cannot do that on any house. So you have to check the zoning map. And then also it's gotten a lot harder since I think that was January or February of 21. If I have my year right. But yeah, they've cracked down on it a lot here in Nashville and Davidson County. But if you go to different counties, it's a little easier to get it. Like I think Williamson is still pretty simple. And the more rural you get, it's a little bit more simple. Each county has their own they've got their own rules.
Yeah.
But right now, you can get a short-term rental permit that you live in a lot easier than you can for a non-owner occupied. They've almost stopped issuing those completely.
Yeah, it seems like the non-owner occupied are really difficult.
They are, which has made buying them kind of a gold mine. Like if you see one home that's selling for way more in the neighborhood, check the notes. They might say NOOSTR. It's got a non-owner occupied.
NOOSTR, so owner occupied is OOSTR. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so to get back to your earlier question, yes, I have the owner occupied Airbnb. I just bought another home in Antioch, actually. I really do.
That's why she's plugging it.
No, but I'm plugging it because it's real. Like, it's actually growing a lot right now. It's one of the last affordable pockets where you can still get a lot of bang for your buck as a first time or second time buyer or as an investor. They have these nice ranch homes that are like 1970s, usually one or two owners, and you can go in, paint, and then do a little landscaping, do some light reno. So I bought this one that's a split level home, and then I actually have my mom and my sister living in the top, and so they're helping me renovate, and then we're going to do a very similar thing that we did with our short-term rental. I'm going to put a door in the lower level hallway, a one-way deadbolt door, and then the walkout basement will become a tenant apartment. So we'll have one person living in there. We're getting the kitchen done, hopefully next week, and then the bathroom also next week.
Okay, so you said split level.
Split level, like when you walk in the front door, one stair goes up and one stair goes down. Okay. It's like that traditional 1970s split level. Okay. I don't know if you've been in one of those, but
I don't think so.
My aunt and uncle have a home like that in Washington, D.C., so.
And can you, is it classified as a duplex? Or
nope.
Okay, so
it's not a duplex, and the door is not up to code. Nobody tell on me. But really, that doesn't matter so much as long as, when I'm selling it next, I just remove that door. So effectively, it's like a home that just has a nice kitchen and a different bedroom downstairs and a full bathroom.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's a way to basically cut your mortgage, hopefully in half. I think we'll probably be able to do more. I'm hoping rents will be about $1,100 for the bottom. Okay. And I guess,
are you going to rent out both sides, or is your family going to live in one?
My family's going to live on the top. They want to live there. It's a nice house for them.
You're charging them rent?
It was an agreement with my mom. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. But yeah, she's gonna be able to live there basically way less than she was before because of that tenant. And then she'll probably live there for a year and then maybe do another one.
Cool.
Yeah. But aside from that, that's what I've got. What I'm looking at doing is midterm rentals. I'm really excited about midterm rentals right now.
So that's 30, 60, 90 days?
Exactly. Okay. And the reason that that's cool is because what we were talking about earlier with the permits does not apply.
I've heard about this.
Yeah.
So people can stay for 31 days. And so it doesn't matter if it's I'll try and say it, an OOSTR or an NOOSTR.
Exactly.
Any house can be 31 mid-rental?
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
So you don't have to go through the permitting process. There are a lot of benefits that I could talk about. The guests tend to be better guests because they're coming through their companies. You're seeing a lot of traveling nurses, a lot of engineers. You're good.
Sorry.
I did that earlier. I had my ringer on. You're fine.
All right.
But yeah, you got traveling nurses, engineers, people on government contracts. And so inherently, if the company is paying that note, they're going to be on their best behavior. So you get less of the party guests and more of just, hey, it's me. I'm here for 2 months. I'm just going to go to work and sleep. So that's better. It's less hard on your property. And then the nice part about having the companies pay for it too is that their stipend is usually a lot higher. A lot of the stipends are between $2,000 and $3,000 a month. So for example, I could probably rent out one where the long-term rental rate is about $1,500 or $1,600 for like $2,500. So it has pretty cool margins.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the management is not very laborious because you're only turning over every 1 to 3 months.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I haven't done one yet, but I am working on it. Got the website and the LLC done.
Are you gonna like test it out in either of your properties, or are you just gonna buy one and go for it? I'm
gonna test it out in the rest of my house. So I've got the owner-occupied Airbnb downstairs. I actually took photos on Sunday of the entire place, and I'm putting it up on Airbnb. So I'm gonna test that out and just see what the demand is like. But what I'm gonna do for the business portion is arbitrage. So if anybody doesn't know what arbitrage is, I'm basically like, say Will has his apartment complex and say we're a good fit for midterms, I would say, hey, could I rent one of your units with a corporate lease? And then he would say, yes, that's fine.
Oh.
Meaning I could, with the corporate lease, I could, sign other people under me, like a sublease for the 30 to 90 day period. And they don't know the difference. Like, they think that I own it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of take the difference.
So like you would rent a house or an apartment for $1,000 on
Yes.
a corporate rental, and then midterm rent it out to someone for $2,000.
Exactly. And then you have your expenses, and utilities are going to be like around $260 a month, depending on what part of town you're in. You want to have like your Netflix and everything, and then you have to furnish it.
Yeah.
That's the expensive part. But there are companies like Court, which is a furniture rental company that's a white glove delivery. They'll bring it all in, and that's about $160 a month. So you've got your expenses, but if you find a good neighborhood and you can find that delta, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do a lot of people do this? Or is
this is a big thing. So 1 in 4 hotels being constructed right now are extended stay hotels. And BlackRock has actually bought Extended Stay America. You know BlackRock, of course. Yeah. They've bought Extended Stay America, I think 5 different times. They've bought and resold it, just depending on the market, but they really believe in this product.
Wow.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense for Nashville of people who need to stay 30, 60, 90 days. I just wonder the amount of demand. Like, you can't do it everywhere.
No,
right?
you cannot do it
it's
everywhere.
It's very specific to certain locations, I would imagine. But Nashville's probably a great spot for it.
Nashville's an awesome place because we've got Vanderbilt, we have the whole hospital district in the West End, and then we have companies like Amazon, and then we've got Fort Campbell and Clarksville, so there's people coming for the Army.
Yeah.
And then there's even things that you wouldn't normally think of, like, say my house burned down and my insurance company gives me a stipend to live somewhere while we rebuild it.
I literally know someone who that just happened to.
Yeah.
Their house,
Yeah.
I think they had a leak.
Yeah,
And
it can be anything.
They post on social media, like, does anyone have a place I can stay for 30 days? Like, literally,
do.
that's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
I'll connect you next time I
Please
see
do.
it.
No, it's really cool because you're finding solutions. Like, you're actually helping these people.
Yeah.
And it makes sense because the insurance companies will pay it. These people's employers will pay it. L's have always been hard for me. I don't know why.
L's?
Yeah.
Employers.
Shout out to my sister Christina for giving me speech therapy when I was a kid.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's what I've been working on.
That's cool. I don't know much about that space at all. And I'm in the spot where, like, I'm considering moving to a nicer apartment or buying a house. So I might put some thought to that and see if I can find a solution.
Think about it. I think a cool play for you could be finding a duplex in a neighborhood you really like.
Yep.
Doing midterm rentals in one side, and you probably cover most, if not all, of your note, just depending on your budget. And then after a year, you could move out and then have 2.
That's the way to do it. Just slowly build.
Slowly build. Yeah. Baby steps.
Absolutely.
Cool. Was there anything? I know we did a high level of your hard money lending business. Was there anything that you wanted to kind of talk about or get out there that I didn't ask you about?
I mean, I don't know. That's a good question.
It's a good question. It's really vague.
Yeah. I'd say, like, we're really looking to grow for the hard money lending business. So
What would that look like?
So right now we have launched a fund, which could be interesting to talk about. In July we launched a fund. So So it's a 506c. We registered with the SEC.
What is a 506c?
So 506c is a way to structure a fund. Okay. But it's only open to accredited investors.
Meaning?
So accredited investors, people who have a net worth of $1 million, excluding their personal residence.
Got it.
Or if you're single, you made $200,000. If you're married, you made $300,000.
Just in like the last calendar year or something?
I think it's the last 2 tax returns.
Okay.
And I think the wording is also like a reasonable expectation to make that next year.
Right. You're not like on the verge of bankruptcy or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a 506c fund, only open to accredited investors. So we are actively looking to raise. We have about $3 million in the fund now. Mm-hmm. We're hoping to get to $7 million by the end of the year. Okay. So we have about $4 million left to raise there. So both on the investment side, if anyone's interested in that. Yeah. And then also on the lending side, like we have to put all that money to work. Yeah. So
so you've got money to spend.
We've got money. Yeah. Like
you guys heard it.
Anytime I'm at events, I'm like, if you guys need money, let me know.
That's a cool gift to be able to give. I mean, at 12%.
It's expensive money, but we have it.
Not a grant. Yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I saw you doing some speaking on your Instagram. Who was that group that you were talking to?
Oh, that was Brian Truman.
Yeah.
With SVN.
What is SVN?
It's their brokerage.
Oh, okay.
It's either SVN or Excel, or he switched back and forth. I can't ever remember.
I'm sure. Let us know, Brian.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get mad at me for not knowing that. Yeah, Brian Truman, he's a commercial brokerage, so he's the broker that sold us the deal in Paris.
Oh, I thought his name sounded familiar. Yeah, that's why, yeah.
So he asked me to come speak about the deal, and so that's what I was doing.
Nice, just to his agents?
No, just, I guess, like, he runs events, and so people were coming to the events, and he does, like, monthly events with different people speaking. Like, I think Brandon's speaking in the next, either just spoke or is about to speak as well.
Cool. Yeah. We need to get him into the Simply Home studio. I'm looking at Grant.
Brandon's tough to get.
Oh, really?
I even struggle to get him.
Dang. Well, so what's your goal? Like, do you have a dollar goal to spend for your hard money business? You said you guys have been raising the fund. You have like projections that you need to hit.
So like, we want to raise $7 million.
Okay.
And when we raise money, we try and turn that 3 times in a year.
Wow.
So we try and lend it out, get it back, lend it out, and get it back 3 times. That's the goal. So if we raise $7 million, our loan volume goal would be 21. Mm. So we're trying to do $21 million in loan volume this year. That's the goal, and I think we're very short of that. I think we're at like 3 million so far. Like in between 2 to 3.
Yeah, that's an interesting position to be in. I'm curious what you think of the greater economy in the market right now.
Yeah.
I know you don't have like a crystal ball, as no one does, but there's been a lot of changes recently.
Yeah.
How do you guys like process that?
I mean, I'm much more pessimistic than like most people, and
which probably makes you a good investor.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got into the lending business specifically because I think that like valuations are way too high, and that there's going to be a major crash. And
we're looking at you, Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah. Yeah. So like 2 or 3 years ago, I'd always say like, I think the mother of all crashes is coming.
Interesting.
But I have no idea when. It could be 20 years, 10 years.
You really believe that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Wow.
But that could be way down the road.
Right.
So the reason I got into lending is because, okay, when that happens, like, how do I position my business and my investments in a spot where when that happens, that I can survive and like actually do well.
Right.
And so for me, the main thing was hard assets. Mm-hmm. So real estate is a great one. Mm-hmm. I'm a big believer in Bitcoin and crypto.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
So
even in light of like the crashes the last 6 months, 8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If anything, my convictions strengthened.
You've been buying.
That could, yeah. That could be a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that could be. Well, we got time. We can talk about it.
But like, so getting into hard assets, so real estate, Bitcoin, there's certain stocks I like, but mostly Bitcoin, real estate are like, being in hard assets, and the lending business is positioned in a way where we're first lien positioned. So we do really well if the economy continues to grow and goes strong. But also if real estate valuations drop by 50, 60, 70%, which I don't want to happen, but if that does happen, we're a first lien position. So we then take over the assets and we own the assets.
Right.
And we pretty much only lend in Middle Tennessee, and we also operate. I don't know the exact number. We probably manage and operate 300 to 400 units internally. So we have the capability not only to take over these assets, but then to operate the assets.
So you have a team in place for that, a management team?
Kind of. It's I would not call it a management team. It's kind of like we figure it out day by day.
Okay. Fair enough.
It's like some we manage our own, some we have a third-party management company, but we have the capability to asset manage and take over and renovate all of these, like our entire portfolio.
So it's not an overwhelming disaster if you do end up getting those homes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
or assets.
We don't necessarily want to be in that position, but we are capable and protected in that position. So that was a much longer thought.
No, that's what I asked. I mean, I'm just kind of curious how you guys are thinking about it. So if I'm hearing it, you're not burying your head in the sand. You're not waiting for the storm to pass or to get here.
Yeah. On the short term, I have no idea. Brandon, I asked him what he thinks about the market, and his words, I hope he's okay with me repeating them, but were he thinks the next 12 to 18 months will be rough. Yeah. Just kind of a slow decline. But then once interest rates turn around, he said there's so much jobs coming in Nashville. There's so many people coming in Nashville that he thinks it's going to be gangbusters.
Really?
That's what he said.
I tend to agree with him.
Yeah.
I think people do get we touched on this already, but people get really emotional in the short term and they get really scared. And we've seen that over and over and over again. 2008 was a major crash, but so many people got really, really afraid, even when they probably should have invested because things were on sale. It was a huge opportunity. So I think if you can, I was listening to a podcast with, what is his name? Tom Bilyeu, the guy who started Quest Power Bars.
I don't think I know him.
He's really good. I'll send you some of his videos after, but he had an economist on there who I'm blanking on his name. They were talking about how this could be a really great opportunity if you can just kind of put your nose to the grindstone right now and save as much as you can, and then just take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting because I think a lot of people do get analysis paralysis. They don't know what's going to happen, so they never invest, and then kind of becomes this cycle.
It's definitely scary. I mean.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. But going back to your question earlier about when's the right time to buy, I think it's so important not to put yourself in a bind. Definitely make sure it's something that you can afford, even if a storm comes. Say you got, God forbid, you got laid off for a couple of months, you would still be okay. You had the savings. I think that's really important just for single family buyers or investors. But also just don't wait forever, because if you look at any graph of real estate values from the beginning of this country on, they go way up and then they go down a little bit and then they go up but they're always going up.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean,
absolutely.
This is what you study.
Yeah.
So don't put yourself in a position where you absolutely have to sell in 3 years and then the market crashes and then your values are shot.
Yep.
But if you feel good about it, feel good about holding on to it for 10 years. I guarantee it's going to be a good investment. Well, I can't guarantee, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good investment.
Yeah. And I think exactly what you said earlier about if the deal makes sense now, then it's the right time.
Yeah.
Just if it makes sense, if it's a good deal, just do it. It doesn't matter the market or whatever we're in. And then there's the old adage. This is kind of ironic because I provide short-term debt, but I can't remember who says it, but it's the worst thing you can do is buy long-term assets with short-term debt.
Ooh.
And if you do that, then you're putting yourself in a tough spot. And it's kind of ironic because I sell short-term debt. But
yeah, how does that work?
I mean,
you're just doing it. You have a different tool. It's a different tool for a different strategy, right?
Anyone I lend to, I would advise them to quickly put it on long-term debt.
Yes.
We're a tool we're a bridge to get you to long-term debt.
Yes. Hence the bridge loan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't hold on to our debt for long periods of time. You don't want to do that.
Okay, so I asked about what you're afraid, or are you afraid? What excites you about the next couple of years? If anything.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say I'm afraid at all. I'd just say like now is the time to be extremely diligent. You don't want to be too optimistic or too silly, I guess. Like you do really need to be diligent because things can go south. But what excites me, I mean, I think now is a good time to be a buyer. I agree. I personally, I don't know if I want things to get worse, right? But
I for sure don't, because a lot of people will get hurt.
Yeah. So that would impact my business. Like my business, if the market's going up, my business does better. However, on the buy side, it's kind of been nice to operate in this environment where there's because previously when you're trying to buy something, it feels like there's just a herd of people around you. Yeah. Where now you can kind of
breathe.
Yeah, it's much more fair. Yeah. For buying. So I think the next few years, I don't know the timeline, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, will favor the people who are diligent. And we're diligent, so.
Yeah. So not that you want it to happen, but I think these things are inevitable. Markets are cyclical. So you're just saying keep your eyes open, stay diligent, and then see the investment whenever it comes. Yeah. Don't be afraid to take the risk.
What about you? What do you think? What's your crystal ball?
Crystal ball. I don't know. I've already kind of said it. I just think save as much as you can. Be smart with your own finances. And speaking of finances, I literally just got done interviewing Jessica Lawrence. She's a B&B bookkeeper. She's the owner of that, and she helps investors manage their short-term rentals and long-term rentals. If you guys want to watch that video, I don't know the order I'll be posting it, but it'll be somewhere soon. So watch that. But yeah, manage your personal finances and then just stay awake. I guess just don't
stay
get
awake.
scared. Yeah, stay awake. Don't get too scared, and yeah, keep underwriting deals, because I think I still see things that are really interesting even right now. And I'm sure it will continue to get more interesting over the coming months. But yeah, don't overextend yourself. Yeah. That's my crystal ball.
And Jess is the best. She's great.
Jess is the best. Yeah, that was honestly a super cool episode. I kept joking there was mic drop moments, but legit, I was sitting there oh my gosh, these really, really simple things I am not doing. She has the QuickBooks app on her phone. When she goes to a business dinner, even for REIN, she'll take a photo of the receipt immediately. It's there. And now she doesn't have to worry about proving that because the date and everything is lined up. You probably already do that.
No, I don't do it.
You don't?
This is my first year doing taxes as a full-fledged business owner, and
really?
It was a disaster.
Did you do them yourself, or did you hire someone?
I hired someone, but even getting the information to them is a disaster.
That's what she was saying. She was it's like a doctor. Doctors can only kind of try and piece together what you've been doing the last few years and help you, but they don't they can't retroactively go back and fix all of your bad habits. And it's the same thing with CPAs and account managers.
I should give Jess a call.
You should.
We have a bookkeeper for our business, but I don't have one personally. And
so I asked her about that too. I was like, do you do personal? And she more so stays in the investment realm, but she just wrote a book actually called Face Your Finances, I think. Grant, do you remember the Face Your Finances? Anyway, I'll plug it all. She gets a second plug now. Yeah. But yeah, I need to call her too.
Yeah, she brings the energy.
She really does. She's super passionate about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really good to see. I feel like a lot of us get really excited on the front end. Brokers, investors, we're wow, this is a crazy deal. And then you're in the weeds of managing it and realizing that you're not tracking your expenses. And then it doesn't become a great deal sometimes. Yeah. She said she's seen a lot of businesses go under that really never should have if they would have just done the right steps on the front end. Yep.
Yeah, I'm good with a spreadsheet, but it's the forms and the insurance and the interest and the
there's too many moving parts. Yeah. You need to really have a system. I'm about to get QuickBooks tonight. and really, really implement that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, let's see. We may have touched on this already, but I had one question for you. If you could let every investor know one thing about hard money lending, what would it be?
Investor or borrower?
I guess I was thinking of them synonymously, but...
Like, because we raise money from investors.
Okay.
And then we lend to borrowers.
What about both?
Okay.
Start with investor.
Okay. So for the investor, my my sales pitch, I guess you could say, is I like it for 3 reasons. So one, your first lien.
Mm-hmm.
So I do personally believe, like, there's just so much uncertainty in the market right now that it is difficult where to put money. Like, while I am a big advocate of crypto, it could all go to zero.
Yeah. I know some people that have already lost their shirt on it.
Yeah, I do too. Stocks, they could drop 20, 30% tomorrow. Real estate, I think, is a good place to be. Like bonds, sure, but if interest rates go down or if interest rates go up, then your price of your bond, you could lose money on that. So it's like a time where it is difficult to place money. So from the investment side, the first lien position, you're typically lower leverage. So if you have to foreclose, you're probably going to be in a good position in terms of what the piece of real estate is worth. And if the borrower doesn't pay you back your first lien, so you get to take over the asset. So you're in a very well collateralized, secure position. The second is that it's short term. Whereas like putting money into something, like most real estate investments are 5, 10, 15-year investments. And a lot can happen in that time period. We think over the long term, real estate will go well and go up.
I agree.
You never know. So like the longer term investment you're making, typically it's a higher risk investment because more things can happen.
Also, your money's tied up.
Exactly.
So you could be doing something else with it.
Exactly. So your opportunity costs and everything. So the first is first lien. Second is it's short term, and third it's high yielding. So we typically pay our investors 8 to 10%, and that is a pretty strong yield. It's less strong than it was a year and a half ago because bonds are higher, but it's still relatively strong and compared to other risk-adjusted ratios. So, those are my 3 typical things I'll mention: is first lien, short term, and then high yielding.
So do you see that there's not like a ton of risk for investors putting their money into the fund? There certainly is risk. But there's like a couple of exit strategies or like ways to pad it. Even if things don't go super well with the market. Yeah, it's just in my opinion at least, it's a healthy risk-adjusted return. So the return you're making and ratio to the risk you're taking, it's healthy. That makes sense. And so I think it's a good place to be. And in our fund, our investors have the ability to withdraw their capital. So like, let's say, Grace, you go, I want to invest $1 million with you, Will. And I go, perfect. So you can invest that $1 million with us. And then 6-9 months down the road, you can say, I'd like 300 of that back. And we can provide that to you within 90 days notice. Wow. So it's like you have the ability to invest and then withdraw the capital. So it's not just like locked away forever. Yeah, we have a 6-month lockup period. Okay. But after that, you can withdraw it. Cool. So that's the pitch to investors. All right, investors, you got your pitch. What about to borrowers? What's one thing you'd want them to know? Yeah, borrowers, it's just like we're just a tool in your tool belt. If I always say, if you can find cheaper money, take cheaper money. I mean, it's just a numbers game. Yeah. So we're expensive, we know it, but we're a tool that you can use. So have your bank lenders, have your cash, be able to wholesale stuff. Also have us as a hard money lender. That if you find a killer deal that needs to close in a week, but you don't have access to cash, and we got you. Yeah. So it's just we make you more capable when you're making offers. Or like if you're bidding with somebody and the seller is like, I've got this offer at $500,000. We'll go, okay, well, we can only pay $450,000, but we can close in 5 days. Right. So we can close much faster. That's huge for a lot of sellers. I mean, that's great. That would get the deal done. Exactly. I've seen that. So we can move quick. And yeah, we're just another tool.
I guess I would say.
They're tools. Got it. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up my questions. Did you have anything else for me?
Well, to wrap it up, the same question you asked me last time, I'll ask to you.
Oh, okay. I forgot what I asked you.
It was like, what advice would you give yourself 2 years ago?
Whoa. I love that question. Not just because I asked it. That's cool. 2 years ago.
We can edit out the pause.
No, it's okay. The pause is real.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm here for it. Oh, I just want to contemplate on this because there's a lot of things I would tell myself 2 years ago. I think the first and foremost is invest in yourself. That's become like my tagline of my life on my YouTube channel. If you're watching on my YouTube channel, you'll see it. If you're on REIN, go to my YouTube channel. It's Grace Shockey. But I have #invest on yourself. And that doesn't just mean assets and like physical investments. I think 2 years ago, I was starting to understand what that looked like, but I wish that I could just like go back and supercharge myself and say like everything that you do, like working out, like doing deep breathing, taking a walk, every meal that you take, like, or every time that you go out on like a Saturday and have too much to drink, you're like detracting from that fund. So there's so much, and like I'm certainly not perfect at all. Like I have so much more to grow, but I think if you think about yourself as an investment and like, will future me be happy about this? Which is funny because this is the whole question. Will future me be happy about this? It makes you make better decisions in the moment. So that's a really big one. And then I think the other thing I would tell myself 2 years ago is you don't owe people your time just because they ask you.
Yep.
Wow. Like even saying that actually feels really freeing.
Yeah, you took like a deep breath before you said it.
It's like something I'm still learning, but I think it's like a couple of weeks ago, I started saying no to like requests for meetings. And I don't mean that. And like, it's not personal. I didn't mean to hurt anybody's feelings. And I say it very professionally and always give like a reason why. Maybe that will change later on, but that's how I feel comfortable doing it now. But I think previous Grace up until this moment always felt like if somebody like needed something or they wanted to talk to me, like I had to take that. But I'm at a season in my life where I'm doing a lot. Like I'm renovating a unit right now. I'm finishing my bachelor's degree. I'm brokering real estate and I'm doing content creation. Like I have a lot that I'm doing and my time is valuable. And like if that meeting doesn't it doesn't provide like value to me, I don't know. I still feel bad saying this. I love everybody, which is why it's hard for me to do this. But if it detracts from my ability to like finish what I need to do and invest in myself and my business, like I just have to say, not right now. Let's figure it out another time. But yeah, how does that hit? I actually feel really uncomfortable saying that.
No. I think everyone struggles to like, because you think you feel selfish, but
yeah, I do feel selfish.
I don't think it's selfish. Like,
to be fair, I'm still a huge advocate for networking. Like I have a lot of meetings, and I think it was cutting it from like 6 meetings a week to like 3.
Yeah, no, my business partner Brandon struggles with that a lot because he's also very, very nice, and people ask him all the time, can I pick your brain? And he can't figure out a way to say no.
Right.
So I don't know the right answer. I personally am like pretty comfortable with saying no.
Really? Have you been like that forever, or was there like a breaking point?
I think I've just like gotten. I think I've been for like that most of my life, but I think I've gotten comfortable not worrying about other people's emotions too much. Now I feel bad saying that, but
no, like it sounds cold-hearted, but I feel like if anybody's in the same position, you'd understand. Like, I don't know. Like you have to invest in yourself. Like you have to invest in yourself. And if I think I'm coming from the place of like on a Friday, somebody would ask me to meet with them, and then I knew that I had like X, Y, and Z to do, and then I already had a meeting at 12 and they wanted to meet at 9. It breaks up my efficiency. Like it breaks up my thought pattern and like ability to get into flow.
Yeah.
And so if I'm like only there just to like give something, I don't know, man, it's so hard to say no for me.
I found that like if you have good intentions and you just communicate clearly, people don't take offense to it. So like,
yeah, and I do try and do that. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm actually working on like this project. Now's like not really a good time for me, but I would love to talk to you in the future.
Yeah, if you tell them why, people like generally people are like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
like that, and then it's fine. Like I don't know if you ever heard my voicemail, but it's literally.
I don't think I have.
It's literally if you called me before 10 a.m., I'm not answering my phone yet.
Nice.
And
did you read 4 Hour Workweek?
I did, but I got that from Deep Work.
Oh, okay. I don't know that one.
Yeah, it literally is like, you know, if you call me before 10:30 a.m., I'm most likely not answering my phone at this time. If it's an emergency, call back and I'll answer. And then I say the same thing for 5 p.m. So like, and all of my friends, all my coworkers, my teammates, they all know, don't call or text me before 10:30 a.m. because I'm like, I put my phone in a different room. I don't even look at it.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah. And so like people will call me at like 10:15, like, and people know, like, are you still in your deep work?
Yes, I am.
So I did want to ask one more follow-up question on.
Yeah.
You said invest in yourself. What is like the highest, like what is the number one thing, or the number one habit or trait or thing you do that you use that like has the highest impact on you investing in yourself?
Oh my gosh, can I say 2?
If you rank them.
Okay. Oh.
First and second.
Number 1 is health.
Yeah.
Number 2 is learning.
Those are good.
So I'm like an avid health enthusiast, and I've always been this way. Shout out mom and dad. I was raised like raw vegan. We would like juice as a family. I mean,
wow.
Not that that's the healthiest diet, but they ingrained health in me. They were like, read ingredient labels, take care of yourself, and they would teach me about like how certain foods fight disease versus contributing to it. So I was like really steeped in that from a young age. So I really, really value health. And then in 2020, I started working out like 4 to 5 days a week. So I never had that kind of discipline about it, but now I'm totally addicted to it. And I realized that if I slack off on that at all I'm doing is making sure that every other thing in my life doesn't go as well.
Yeah.
Like versus when I'm diligent about it, I'm happier. I'm a way better friend and partner and like human, and I'm gonna work better and just feel better. This is the vehicle that we experience life through. Yeah. And if you are not tuning it up properly, then your life isn't going to feel as good. Yep. So health is huge. It doesn't matter how many physical investments you have if your health is not good. And then second one is learning, because I'm just like so curious. I want to learn everything, which is probably clear because I do so many things at once. But just stay curious. Like my phone is both an enemy and my best friend, but I carry around all the time listening to podcasts. Sometimes I just need like an emotional boost. Like some days you just wake up and you're like, man, I don't feel super happy today. I don't feel really good. First, I would say go to the gym. Second, I would say if you're still feeling bad, put on something that's like really inspirational. Sometimes I'll seek out like people that I know have come from really hard backgrounds, and it will make me feel better because I'm like, I know if they can come from this and they do X, Y, and Z, I for sure can make it through whatever I'm going through. And then the other thing is I like to listen to like neuroscientists and biologists, and I just went to straight science, but I do everything like economists and everything, because I think everybody has a specialty and like a genius zone, and if I can just listen to 45 minutes of that a day, it elevates me as a person. Stay curious.
I like it.
Cool. Well, this was super fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure we're gonna do another one.
Looking forward to it.
What we're gonna talk about the next one? You said
I said crypto.
Yeah. Okay. Well, crypto episode coming soon.
That's a rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah, it is. That one's gonna be a hot take, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I appreciate it. Well, thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
Cheers.
Cheers.